The best science fiction will give you something to think about that you haven't thought of before. And it might be serious, it might be completely silly.
I meet people like myself all the time in science fiction who love science because it's weird and because it's interesting, because it's important and kind of fun that nothing else is.
Most science fiction fans of our generations, at least, were readers, and that means you're probably kind of introverted and not extremely social, but you go to a convention and everybody's like that.
Icon is the long-running science fiction convention, started back in 1975, and that was really the result of a class on science fiction writing that was taught by a linguistics professor, Larry Martin, and the MFA student, Joe Haldeman. One of the things that we talked over was, hey, we should go to a science fiction convention up in Minneapolis. It's always held on Easter weekend. You'll get to meet some authors. There are panel discussions, and so on. So we did that. It was kind of a field trip for those of us who'd never been there before.
But anyway, they saw the convention and got an idea what a convention would be. And I think it was probably Greg who said, hey, we can do this.
Yeah.
And my mom will make the costumes. No, yeah, so it was.
In the very first Icons, there was a lot of focus on the writing and reading of the short stories and books, and not so much on the movies and or TV, because there was not much of that around.
And because Icon is usually small, 300-400 people, you have a good chance to develop relationships with all kinds of people, other fans, professionals in the field, and so on. My favorite story there, the writer guest that year, it was Roger Zelazny, who had done a number of books. And I was sitting in my room working on my costume for that night. And there's a knock at the door. So I opened up, there's Roger Zelazny. Hi, I'm just coming around everybody's room so I can meet you all. And he came in and spent, 15, 20 minutes just chatting about this and that. And I'd read most of his books at that point. So it was a wonderful experience to have a writer come around to meet the fans.
Over time now, it's become, the reading part is, and the literature part is emphasized less, and the TV, the movies, the comic books are emphasized more.
It is funny to look at because I recall back in the early days when Star Trek came out, because we were fans before Star Trek, and we looked at Star Trek and said, golly, they're spending all this money on science fiction. That's how strange. And the first year, suddenly, it was bigger than all of science fiction fandom put together. And, well, it's watching an organism be consumed by its offspring.
Yeah, science fiction eaten alive by its offspring. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, what are we up to? 47?
It's scary.
Isn't that scary?
Yeah.
We're not any older than we were then.
I was going to say, I don't understand that. I'm 23. How could it be 47 years? It's ridiculous.
We've got, Icon's been around long enough that we have grandchildren of those of us who were there at the beginning. I've got 2 grandkids, but they're here in Florida, so they won't be able to go this time.